Hey everyone, this is Chris with Chahin Properties. Today's video is about how to get multiple offers on your house in Metro Detroit. So this is exactly what I was able to accomplish for my sellers in this picture right here. And this is what we're using to get multiple offers on all of our listings right now. Take advantage of the current market and get my sellers the most amount of money in their pocket, net bottom line. Let's get into it. All right, so this listing right here is in Macomb, Michigan. And first of all, as you can see, step one is doing professional photography. So I went through, made sure that the house was in perfect condition. I got it staged and looking beautiful so that it shows well. And then I went through and I do all of my own personal listing media myself. So I have my big fancy camera, I get it on my tripod, I do bracketed photography that takes a low light, a regular light, and a high exposure image and blends it all into one. And you get it looking absolutely beautiful so that it shows well and it entices buyers to see it on the map, see the value, get in there. The goal of the pictures is to get the buyers as excited as possible and get them to schedule a showing on the house and come see it in person. So as you can see, I have all the angles, I capture all the rooms. You can see all the details, all the decor. And the second part of making it present as amazing as possible is how we price it. So if I go and I look at all the houses for sale around me, you have to think about how buyers shop for a house. So they might be on Zillow or, realtor.com, or they're looking at the auto email their realtor sends, and they're looking and might look in the neighborhood here and they hover over the price. They see, oh, okay, $399 for this neighborhood. It might get a click, and then they'll look at the picture and start to imagine if that matches up with their expectation of what the price should be. So this one doesn't have a picture. It's not a super beautiful, image on the outside. Maybe that one isn't as enticing. But if we go through and we find one that looks nice here, oh, this one's pretty nice, but it's not in my budget yet. We're shopping. Oh, okay. 850 for this neighborhood, 4 beds, 3.5 baths. Click on it. Wow. Oh, they have the nice drone pictures. Looks like a walkout basement, maybe. Okay, this is in really good shape. And so they'll get excited about the house. And then out of a few of them, they kind of rank and categorize and they say, okay, well, there's these ones that seem like they're expensive, but I would go give it a look anyways. There's the ones where, oh, they immediately rule it out. Wow, 850, 8 or 900 for this. No, that's too much. And then there's the ones that look like they're really good value. And ultimately, those are going to be the ones that the buyers are excited to go see going into it. Something like this. This agent did a great job with the photography. Has some beautiful pictures of the outside. Oh my God, it's in great condition. Wow, look at those flowers. And so they'll go through and they'll send these to their agent and they'll say, hey, I really like this house. I want to make sure we see this one. It looks like a great deal. And if it's priced well, buyers understand that there's other buyers in the market. So they're going to have a lot more urgency to go take a look at the ones that look like a great deal. So combined with the photography and presenting it well, we have to keep in mind how buyers shop. And then we see they're going to be excited and in a hurry to see the ones that look like a great deal as well. So ultimately, it has to look really attractive in the photos, and the price tag has to be attractive as well. And again, the goal here is to get much more than the price tag. But in order to do that, you don't do that through pricing it high and have buyers be hesitant to go see it and try to work you get multiple offers by pricing it to be the most smoking deal in the neighborhood. Because if the buyers are looking over here, they might consider this one as well. They might take a look at that one nearby, and they're comparison shopping. So if you have two houses and they're both the same level of condition, but one of them has, basic photos, the agent probably used their iPhone, and they don't look that clean, and the other one looks like a smoking deal. It's like, what? 450 for that neighborhood? And the pictures are great, the price is right. That's going to be the one ultimately that they end up deciding to go see, even if the condition is completely the same. And so if you have 20 showings on the one that's priced lower and three showings on the one that's priced higher, ultimately, which one do you think is going to sell for more? Which one's going to get multiple offers? Next is going to be how you handle showings and open houses. So again, we dive really deep into buyer psychology. With all of our listings, we make sure that first weekend on market, we're coming soon on a Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Let it populate to all the sites. Let it populate to the MLS and Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and all the sites, and let people start to see it, get a taste of it, and then make sure that there's a public open house on the first weekend. Then, when it's active on that first day of showings, if you did everything right so far, you should start to see a bunch of showings start to get scheduled in advance for the weekend. We do exclusive appointments only. So each buyer has a specified time that is their private time to see the house. There's no other appointments during that time. And what happens is when you start to see, when you go to schedule the showings, you start to see these time slots getting filled up. And so in the mind of the agent and in the mind of the buyer, there's a lot of urgency to get in that house and get a time because you see that other people are looking at the house too, especially with an open house on their mind. They're going to know that there's going to be a ton of people trying to get in the house, trying to see it. There's only certain available time slots, and the longer they wait, the more filled up it gets. And ultimately, the goal is that the buyers see other buyers parked outside when they're in their showing. They come to the open house and there's other groups walking through the house. All of that in the back of their minds, it starts to create that sense of competition, that sense of urgency and FOMO, so that they feel the pressure to make a great offer and be the ones to win your house. So now that you're through the first weekend, you've had a ton of showings, you had an open house, it went really well. During the open house, you had snacks, drinks, you were smiling, you were friendly with everybody. A bunch of groups came through. All the buyers saw the other buyers in the house. Now, you should be starting to get some offers. You should have a couple offers roll in if you've priced it right, if it shows beautifully, if the pictures were great, if you had a ton of groups through, you should start to see some offers rolling in. Now, if it's like Sunday night and you've had agents calling you all weekend and you're starting to get those offers rolling through, this is when you're going to call your highest and best deadline. So you're going to make it public in the MLS and all the sites that, hey, our highest and best deadline, all offers are due by Monday at 8 p.m. And so this gives all those people who had to think about it over the weekend, talk to the wife, check with the family, come through for a second showing. All of that can be taken care of by Monday night if the buyers are really serious about the house. Now, once you call that deadline, all the agents are going to call you. You're going to start to present all the offers. So people are going to call, they're going to ask, hey, what's important? What are you looking for in this offer? Obviously price, but I always say, hey, we're looking for a convenient of a deal as possible. So, if we can talk about things like doing appraisal guarantees, especially if the bidding got up above asking price. Appraisal guarantees are huge. I'm looking at an appraisal thing right now where the house appraised super low, but the buyer offered a $40,000 appraisal guarantee, meaning that even though the bank said the house was worth this much, the offer was higher, but the buyer is willing to cover the difference between the lower appraised value and the contract price they offered in cash. So things like appraisal guarantees are huge. Escalation clauses, I always call and say, hey, listen, it's getting competitive, are you able to just take the escalation clause off, just write your offer at the highest, end of that range? Most of the time, they're willing to take it off because that's what the buyers are ultimately willing to pay for the house. And then you compare. And so you'll compare all the offers, you'll go through the contracts you receive with a fine-tooth comb, and you'll see some buyers are rating conventional. It might be 20% down. Others might be FHA, 3% down. Others might be, 2-week closing. You might get a cash offer. And so you have to go through and you have to find ultimately the most qualified buyer and the most convenient terms that you get. And as an agent, I always go through, I double check pre-approvals. You shouldn't sign anything that they didn't send you a pre-approval with. And if they do send a pre-approval or when they send a pre-approval with their offer, I'm always calling the lender to confirm the financial strength of the buyer that wrote the offer as well. So these things are huge because it's one thing to write an offer over ask, but it's another thing to actually close on time and close without any bumps or issues that come up in the process. So we're looking for the offer with the most qualified buyer that gives us the best, that gives us assurance that we are going to close on time with no bumps and everything's going to go smoothly. Okay, and so now that you've accepted your offer, you've signed off, you're probably going to have an inspection built into that offer, unless things got super crazy and buyers started waiving inspections and everything like that, which, I'll never recommend that they do. But sometimes if the house is in really good shape, ultimately, if buyer's comfortable with it, that's up to them if they want to make it contingent on inspections. So if the buyers go through and they do an inspection, now that you have multiple offers, you have to leverage in the situation as well, because they're going to go through, they're going to do their inspection. The inspector's always going to find a big laundry list of things. They're going to say, like, even in this photo, look at that. They need downspout extensions on the gutters, or the auto reverse on the garage doesn't work, or any number of things. The door hinges aren't right, or something like that. But it's their job to find all the little tiny things so that nothing can come back to bite the inspector in the butt. But really, the buyers should only be on the lookout for major, major items. And so if all goes well and you screened the house before and you took care of any major repairs that needed to be done, then you have the strength in the situation that you got multiple offers to not have to deal with, all the repairs and lowering the price and everything that comes with it in the inspection report, because you can just say to the buyers, hey, listen, we have this whole stack of other offers that we're more than willing to go through with this house. So if you want the house, then you are going to ultimately have to deal with all the little things that come with it. Welcome to homeownership. And that's ultimately the position that you want to be in. We always want to be negotiating from a position of power. So now that you're through the inspection period, that's when the bank is going to take over and they're going to start underwriting the deal. And most likely, if the buyer's getting a mortgage, the bank is going to order an appraisal. So on the appraisal, if you accepted an astronomically high price, the buyer should have included an appraisal guarantee in their offer. Like I said, meaning that they'll cover the difference in cash. So appraisal should go off pretty smoothly unless something crazy happens and the appraiser, for whatever reason, decides that the value was way, 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 way off. Then the appraisal should go completely fine. It should come in wherever it comes in at, and you should already have agreed, if you have the right multiple offers, that they're going to cover the difference wherever it comes in at. And so, for a couple of weeks, they do the underwriting for the loan. And in this time, the agents are coordinating with the title companies. The bank is underwriting the loan. They're making sure that the buyer gets through all of their conditions that they have to meet for the bank to close on the loan. And as soon as the buyer gets that clear to close letter from the bank, then you're good to go. You're good to schedule a closing with the title company. The buyers on the day of closing are going to wire the money to the title company, and the bank is going to wire their funds in as well. The title company is going to go ahead and transfer the deed. They're going to collect all the mortgage docs to sign. They're going to make sure that there's money held in escrow for water. They're going to get the agents paid. They're going to pay the taxes forward. They're going to hold money aside in case of any repairs if there's occupancy involved. And they're going to be the neutral third party that facilitates the transaction. So congratulations. As you can see by this really firm grip here and the transfer of keys in this stock image, you should have successfully closed on your house and gotten an astounding offer with terms that you're happy with, and it should have all went off without a hitch because, as you can see, all of it has to do with the prep work and the lead up and making the house so exclusive and the hottest deal on the block that all the buyers couldn't resist your house, and so they had to rush in and flood and give you the best possible offer and closing that you could have hoped for. That is exactly how you end up with the most amount of money in your pocket, and you sell your house with multiple offers with terms that you're happy with for the maximum value that you possibly could have gotten for it. So if you have any questions about anything in the process, I promise you everything goes a whole encyclopedia worth of information deeper for every single step. And there's so many things along the way that I'm more than happy to answer questions about and give you more information on. And ultimately, thanks for watching this video. I'm Chris with Pure Michigan Properties, and if I can help you get maximum value for your house, please feel free to give me a call. Thanks.